You know, when this channel first started 11 or so years ago, however long ago, one of the first superhero games that I ever covered here on this channel was, first of all, the Injustice games. I love those games, but also Batman Arkham Origins. The Arkham franchise, it means more to me than I can even describe. I love those games. I love DC games, and there used to be a really special place in my heart, as there would be some incredible games for us to enjoy way back when from the DC brand. I remember that they had their own version of like an Ultimate Alliance, and that game was super fun. And plus, I mean, DC Universe Online to this day continues to get updates. But these days, man, DC games just ain't like they used to be. And it's weird because back then it was Marvel that we were struggling to get something good out of. I know we had stuff like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. I know that obviously we had some really good Spider-Man games. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man was fantastic. The Spider-Man 2 movie game, and so on. But there were just so many of those movie tie-in games that really muddied the waters when it came to Marvel games and what we came to expect from them. So for the longest time, because of the Batman Arkham franchise, DC games were king. But man, it's been, we've been struggling out here for a little while, and we've been waiting to get something that was of the same quality or maybe even better than what those Arkham games had provided us. Now, we say all this, and Rocksteady actually is back in some way, and as of right now, they have slated for February of next year to release their next big project, and it's within the Arkhamverse, being Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I know there's some controversy around this considering the live service elements. I know there's certainly some controversy around this considering the fact that it's going to be always online. But for me, man, it's got the Rocksteady logo. I'm there day one. I have my reservations as well. I have things that I'm a little worried about too, but I am definitely going to be playing this game, and I'm going to go in with an open mind and hope that I get something, at least from the story aspect of it, of the quality that we got from the previous Rocksteady DC games. What I'm not looking forward to though now is the future of WB games, but more specifically, what it could mean for our DC titles. You see, the big CEO at Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, went on a earnings call to talk about Q3 and talked a little bit about the WB Games division. And the first thing that he had to say was that you should hit the like button on this video, which I gotta agree with David on that one. I think that's extremely important. But then he went on to say this, and it caused a whole ton of controversy online. CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, said this: "Our focus is on transforming our biggest franchises from largely console and PC based with 3 to 4 year release schedules to include more always on gameplay through live services, multi-platform, and free-to-play extensions, with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platforms. Ultimately, we want to drive engagement and monetization of longer cycles and at higher levels. To put specific capabilities, we are currently under scale and see significant opportunity to generate greater post-purchase revenue." Post-purchase revenue usually means things like microtransactions, battle passes, the stuff that you come to expect when you play a live service game. Essentially, what David Zaslav is saying here is that he wants to have more live service games be made under the WB Games umbrella going forward. And Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, alongside titles like Multiverses and even a little bit of what they're doing with Mortal Kombat 1, seems to be our first testing grounds for exactly that. Games that are meant to last longer than just that 3 to 4 year cycle. Games that are meant to be everlasting with constant updates and constant content added to it. But with that, constant ways for you to continue to spend your money on the potential $60 to $70 game. And listen, okay, I'm not a game developer. I don't make these games. I'm not a businessman. I don't work at WB Games. I don't know how all this stuff works. I'm just a consumer like you guys. I spend my own money on these games as well, and I always want the best product possible. I know people give me crap for whether or not I liked Gotham Knights. For me, I always look at that as a perfectly okay 7 out of 10 game. I'm not the type to think that if it's not the greatest thing ever, then it's the worst thing ever. But with that being said, I want a Superman game, man. I want a single player action adventure story driven Superman game. I don't want a live service Justice League game, at least not yet. I mean, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League looks interesting. The story, to me, is what I am most compelled by. All the little story tidbits that they showed from that PlayStation showcase earlier this year had me extremely intrigued It's the gameplay aspect, it's the live service elements that I'm the least interested in. But then again, if Rocksteady manages to find a good balance between allowing me to have some fun playing by myself, then I won't mind as much the live servicey stuff. If those updates are fun, if they're engaging, if they keep me coming back, then that's great as well. But this just shouldn't be the mission statement, most especially when recently, this year, the biggest WB Games release was a single player game, Hogwarts Legacy. It did gangbusters in sales. They sold like crazy on that game, and that should be a telltale sign that that formula works. It should be a telltale sign that, yes, okay, if you want to dabble in the live servicey stuff, if you want to try to make some extra cash there, great, but the single player stuff should be just as important. I mean, just look at what we're getting now on the horizon from Marvel games. We got Marvel Spider-Man 2, another incredible single player experience, already confirmed to have sold over 5 million copies. And that's just a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Imagine if we're getting these great single-player story-driven superhero games and they're multi-platform. I mean, come on. Imagine a story-driven Superman game. Imagine even a linear Flash game or Green Lantern. There's so many opportunities here, and we're just leaving money at the door. Plus, you know, Marvel's got EA's Iron Man game on the way. EA's also making a Black Panther game that's going to be confirmed to be open world. Skydance New Media is working on a action-adventure Captain America Black Panther team-up game. Insomniac's making a freaking Wolverine game. There's so many things to look forward to for Marvel games, and they're all single player. It's just crazy to see the roles have reversed. We're just gonna have to wait and see what the future holds for DC games, for WB games in general, but I'm certainly going to be proceeding with caution. Again, I would love for Suicide Squad to come out and for people to love it. I would love for me to be able to play the game and say, wow, you know what? We were all wrong. I would love for a whole bunch of live service games to come out from WB Games, and they're all, for some reason, somehow spectacular. But considering the history that we have with live service games that aren't Destiny, considering the history we have with live service superhero games, Avengers, this is certainly not the route to be going down. And even if we talk about PlayStation, they just announced that they're scaling back big time on their initial plans to go all in on live service themselves. And that's probably because of the blowback and also because of the fact that it's just not easy. Naughty Dog was trying to do it themselves with that Last of Us multiplayer game, and now nobody knows when we're even gonna see it next. It's in complete development hell. We have no idea if it's ever going to get released, and it's just turning into another story of a live service game that turned into a disaster. But with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this news regarding WB Games putting more of a focus on live service games? Let's try to keep it civil, of course. And hey, as a general note, you know, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is on the way. There are some things about it that I'm very much looking forward to, so I definitely got you guys covered with all the coverage for that game. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you got those notifications on, and once we finally get some more updates for that game, I'll make sure to have you guys updated on it. With that being said, I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.